And Natalie Lau steps behind the service line, the junior from San Francisco, to begin tonight's ACC affair. And right out of the gate, there's Kara Cressy with the kill for the Cardinals to put Louisville on the board first.
Cressy with the kill, but it starts with a fantastic serve receive from Elena Scott. That's what the Cardinals want to see tonight, is winning that serve and serve receive battle.
Kara Cressy, a preseason member of the All-ACC team. They're on the kill, but one of the best blockers for this Louisville team that is among the top 15 in the country in terms of blocks. Anna DeBeer now will have the honors to serve for Louisville. The fifth-year superstar and All-American for the Cardinals. That was off the tape and gives Cal the opportunity to go to Kate Mansfield for the swing. Charity Looper just has to get it over for Louisville. And there is Maggie Lee, the player we highlighted in the open, with her first attack of the day. Here she is once more, and that is off hands for the point.
And that's what we talked about with Lee. We'll see all different swings. We saw her first go deep corner and kind of jam the libero for Louisville, and then high line off the hands of the block.
Lee started every match last year as a true freshman, had 11 double-doubles, and was named Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Here she is behind the service line. Cressy for the second time with a kill.
The passing from Louisville allows them to run their middles. We see Hannah Sherman here entering the game now in the front row for the Cardinals when Cressy goes back to serve, but is replaced by libero Elena Scott. And let's see if they continue to try to use the middle for offense through Sherman.
Here is Elena Scott serving for Louisville. And out of the middle there for Cal was Sawyer Thompson, the sophomore middle blocker from Kansas, who stands at 6'3" with the kill.
Same idea for the Bears. Great serve receive right to your middle to finish.
Thompson this season, multiple kills in every game but one. And she's a terrific blocker as well. 4 games with 5 or more blocks for Cal this season. Here's Reese Robbins for Louisville. And Reese Robbins gets the job done. We've talked about Maggie Lee being a super sophomore, where Louisville hopes that Reese Robbins can also be a super sophomore this season.
And this isn't necessarily Robbins' best swing. A little bit outside the antenna, a little bit of an off-system ball. She likes more of a tempo ball from the right side pin, but that's a great cross-court swing.
And from a super sophomore to a fantastic freshman for Louisville, Nayelise Cabello, the setter back behind the service line. An overpass, and there's Hannah Sherman to pounce for the Cardinals.
We've talked about all the great passing so far this game. When you're trying to really push that ball up to the net as a serve receiver to enable your offense to run middle, you are going to get some overpasses.
Sherman playing in her 11th set of the season, the redshirt sophomore from Maryland, an ace for Louisville. And a good start for the homestanding Cardinals here in their ACC opener.
Desjardins wants that one back. I think it was probably going to be out.
Cabello with her second ace of her freshman campaign there. Scott keeping it alive. Here's Charity Looper. Lau the set down the middle to Michaela Hayden for the point.
And one thing you'll notice here about the Golden Bears offense is that they have multiple hitters running first tempo. They're running a 1 out of the middle with Hayden, and also running off of 1 foot with Mansfield on the right side of the court, which is a slide with a 1 attack, double first tempo offense.
Sophia Johnson, the sophomore from Minnesota, into the match to serve. Had multiple aces last time out against UCLA for the first time this year.
A little bit of a low set there by Cabello.
And the Cal fans that have made the long trip across the country for this one, making some noise from the rafters of L&N Federal Credit Union Arena. There's Lee out of the back row that time.
And Lee, again, just able to score from all different positions. She's not the high flyer that Looper and DeBeer are on the Cardinals side of the net, but she's able to move that ball and find gaps in the defense.
And if there were any hints of nerves or maybe unease for Cal coming into their first ACC game ever, They seemingly have quelled those nerves with that scoring run to get back into the opening set, but a point here to Louisville. Sofia Maldonado-Diaz into the match. There's Charity Looper, who has taken a big step forward for Louisville, leading them with over 100 kills coming into tonight's match. And doing her best there to keep that ball alive, but couldn't quite do it. And a point to Cal.
We mentioned Hayden staying in front of the setter when there's 3 hitters in the front row. When she becomes front row up next with the setter, then she tends to run that slide off the right side.
Peyton Desjardins, the junior from Pasadena, back to serve. Maldonado-Diaz the swing. She'll get another opportunity here, and she takes advantage of that opportunity with the kill.
Great off-system long angle.
Sofia Maldonado-Diaz, 4 years at Arizona. Her first here with Louisville, averaging over 2 kills per set. Has racked up over 1,300 kills in her career before transferring into the Cardinals. Hannah Sherman to serve. Here's Anna DeBeer. And Anna DeBeer on the score sheet.
DeBeer just gets up quick and over this block and is able to hit right over the seam, which is a very hard position to defend.
DeBeer with 12 kills in the loss to Nebraska. She was the only Louisville player in double figures in that loss. That one just nicked the tape on its way over. And there's Louisville with perhaps the strength of the team. A block for the point.
And blocking is what can really keep you in the match. They just shut down that cross angle of the slide.
Anna DeBeer there with her right hand. Give her credit for her 7th solo block of the season. 15 total for her. Lee had to reach back for that one. Maldonado-Diaz had to reach forward for that one. But then it's another block for the Cardinals, back to back. Give credit to Maldonado-Diaz. And a 4-0 run for Louisville to respond to that California run from a moment ago. A seesaw opening set. At least for the opening 16 points. Charity Looper to the floor to try and get the dig, but it is Lee with the kill. And Gianna Bartolo, the Denver transfer grad student, back behind the service line. All Summit League honorable mention last year with Denver. Started at libero for that program each of the last 3 seasons. Little moisture on the floor, it would seem. And considering the weather we have today, Steph, not a surprise.
I think a few people carried in some water with them on the way in.
Oh, there's DeBeer with authority.
What a fantastic jump set here by Cabello. You see the block bite with Cara Cressy out of the middle, and DeBeer is able to come inside and finish out to the line.
See that hitting percentage for Anna DeBeer, a little bit lower than maybe she would like over the course of this season. You just get the sense that Louisville has yet to see the best from Anna DeBeer to this point in 2024. Point to Louisville on the ace.
And to your point, Louisville's played a really tough schedule so far this season, but I think as a coach, you also don't want your team to be peaking in the preseason. So there's that balance between challenging your team, figuring out where they stand. In Louisville's case, running a 5-1, running a 6-2, figuring out what the dynamic of your team is going forward, but also not trying to be peaking in the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, Louisville certainly has tested themselves in the non-conference portion of the schedule. And with the added depth in the ACC this year, the tests will keep coming. Another ace for the Cardinals and for Maldonado-Diaz.
You bring your curiosity, your ambition, your spirit to Berkeley to be an AI machine learning, twisting, turning, flipping, video game soundtrack performer. A student of human rights strengthening, sustainable architecting, quantum science pioneers. A member of solar car designing and racing, community-driven student farming, football team rousing communities. You bring your whole self to Berkeley to be a part of the greatest public university.
This is the ACC, where greatness isn't just a goal, it's our relentless pursuit.
Well, there you go.
Where elite coaches and preeminent players constantly strive to redefine what's possible. Here, greatness knows no limits. Here, achievements speak louder than words, and legacies are cemented. This is the ACC, accomplished greatness.
Ever inspired by the people and the passions of the community it calls home, the University of Louisville is committed to opening wide the doors of opportunity, pursuing knowledge and innovation to build a stronger tomorrow, and empowering a bold new generation of leaders, one every bit as ambitious as it is diverse. Together, Cardinals are helping a better world take flight, here and beyond.
Louisville with the early advantage. Let's say hello to Riley Himmer.
Lots of firsts here for the California Golden Bears. It is their first matchup against an in-conference competition, as we have mentioned here tonight. And the ACC is one of the most competitive conferences to be a part of. We've mentioned it before, so what a way to welcome them into the ACC. It's also their first year underneath head coach Jen Malcolm, and this will be the first time Louisville and California have played one another since 1983.
Thanks, Riley. That's right. It is a rematch that has been a long time in the making. Maybe people have been waiting with bated breath for it, but it is a rematch. But the bigger point there, Steph, it is a brand new ACC. We saw the three programs that are coming into it, and it's a league that has now a ton of talent. You could argue that it's the best league in the country, which isn't something you could have said over the last few years.
And we talked about the 7 teams ranked in the top 25 right now. 2 of them are newcomers, Stanford and SMU, but also the middle pack of the conference has gotten so much stronger over the last 3 to 5 years. We have Florida State, Miami getting ranked in that top 25. They've been contenders for a few years, but now they are true challengers to win the ACC this season.
Louisville with 2 blocks. There's Cowell's first block of the evening. And it comes off the hands of Sawyer Thompson. 40+ blocks this season for her. There's a service error, unfortunately for California, to end what they hoped would have been a run to get back into this opening set. And an opportunity for Louisville to re-seize control with Anna DeBeer back behind the service line. 11 aces for DeBeer on the season. Couldn't find one there. Robbins with a touch, a little bit awkward, but Scott able to find it and eventually get it to Looper. Cal goes to the right side where Mansfield is denied. Here's Lee. DeBeer. Mansfield. And a good rally. Scott flying to the floor, drawing the oohs and ahs from the crowd. Here's Anna DeBeer. To Lee, sent back by Reese Robbins.
Fantastic offense from both sides, but it's the defense that makes the difference in this rally. You see the dig by Elena Scott and the finish on the block from Cressy and Robbins.
Elena Scott topping the 1,500 dig mark for her career earlier this year.
We've been hyping up ACC Volleyball. I think that rally was a showcase of what we're in for this season.
Shorter rally there, but it results in another point for Louisville. And like I mentioned earlier, Louisville second in the ACC in blocks, top 15 in the country in that stat. And that has been perhaps the biggest factor in their early lead. There's an ace. Anna DeBeer with a laugh as she saw that one roll over the tape and down for the point. And Cal forced into their second timeouts.
And two things that can really fix a lot of things for a volleyball team are the aces and the blocks. We just saw an ace from Anna DeBeer. We've seen blocks from the Cards down the stretch. We get in those long rallies where the defense gets really hyped up. It gets harder and harder to find a kill, but blocks are what can finish those rallies.
You see the two leading stars for Louisville in terms of that block party. Kara Cressy off to a fabulous start in this one with 4 already today. We've yet to see PK. Hannah Sherman getting the earlier look in the middle for Louisville thus far. Sherman without a block to this point. But Reese Robbins pitching in with a pair. Maldonado Diaz and Anna DeBeer each with a block as well to this point. This is something that's been a strength of this Louisville program down the years under Danny Busboom Kelly. Seems to be the case this year, Steph, that it will be a strength again.
And I think it'll be important as this match goes on. We talked about the Cal Bears running a lot of different things off of one foot on the right side. That'll force the block of DeBeer and Looper to step up as well to shut down the slide. And DeBeer down the stretch has been a very good slide blocker.
We were talking just a moment ago, Steph, about the depth of this league. The ACC with the additions of Stanford, SMU, and Cal, and the emergence of programs like Miami and Florida State. And what is interesting, as you pointed out to me before this, tonight's match, this top 7 is the same top 7 that was picked in the preseason poll of the ACC. They are lining up in the rankings just like they did in the preseason poll.
Credit to the knowledge of the ACC coaches. That's a coach-based poll. And this is exactly how it was chosen, voted to finish for the ACC this year. We'll see if it stands true.
But a lot of talent and a lot of exciting volleyball to be played over the course of this ACC schedule beginning tonight for these two sides. Out of the timeout, there's Reese Robbins down the line, but off target.
You see Bartalo give her coach a thumbs up. She was exactly foot on the line, textbook defense there, and knew that ball was out.
So there's a look at Maggie Lee, the super sophomore from Beijing in China. She was the AVCA's West Region Freshman of the Year a year ago, one of many accolades that she racked up in a super debut in college volleyball. There's a block from Cal to respond to what Louisville has been able to do.
And we've talked about the offense with the 3 middle offense for Cal, but the defense having 2 middle blockers out there on the right side is huge for the Cal defense as well.
See the awards and the bewildering statistics that Maggie Lee was able to put together last year. 11 double-doubles, but just 1 so far for her this season. Hasn't quite gotten it going in the same fashion. Another point to Cal to keep them within touching distance of Louisville in this opening set. Both teams hitting sub 200 to this point. It's been a busy night for the
humidity on the Terraflex.
Yes. It is worth pointing out, first time Louisville has played in this building this season. Obviously, they practice here every day, and this feels very much like home to them, but perhaps we're seeing some issues with the new Terraflex floor that was installed. Another point to Louisville, and a good start for Kara Cressy as she heads to the bench. Cressy 3 for 4 with those 4 blocks that we mentioned earlier. And another point to Louisville. Difficulty handling that serve for the Cal defense.
And a little bit of the difference in these two offenses. Cal is really heavy through Lee on the outside. That's their norm. You see her with 10 attempts right now, whereas the Louisville Cardinals running the 6-2 are a little bit more varied with 3 hitters in the front row all the time and the ability to spread out the ball.
There's the freshman Kate Mansfield from Plano, Texas, tooling the block for the kill. She's hit 300 or better in 6 matches this season. Been pretty efficient for this Cal team. There's Sherman. Set up beautifully by Ellie Glock.
Starts with a pass. Beautiful pass. Hannah Sherman stays in front of the setter there as she's pushed a little bit to the left side. Finds a gap. I don't think she would like the nickname Herman. We're going to stick with Sherman.
Maybe Herm might be a little nicer than Herman. Louisville by 7. Cal has had their moments in this opening set, but Louisville has always looked pretty comfortable in the friendly confines. Little indecision from the officials on that one, but eventually they award the point to Louisville, saying that it took or was not touched rather.
I thought we were maybe going to have a challenge, but the bench from Cal that's right down the sideline said, "Coach, it was out."
Certainly was a little hesitation from everybody looking around to make sure that we all saw it the same way.
I saw it in, so I was on a different side.
And that was awkward in serve receive for Cal. Eventually the double touch giving Louisville the point, and the Cardinals are 3 points away from sealing this opening set.
Since it's the opening game of ACC play, we'll talk for just a second about the new double contact rules. So that ball, you can double contact now. So we've seen a couple of what old school people would consider ugly sets so far in this match. But as long as it stays on your side of the court, it's not a double contact anymore. That one came over the net, so double contacts are still in play on the second or third ball if it crosses the net.
That one off the fingertips. Well, it looked like it was off the fingertips of Hannah Sherman. I should bite my tongue there because they award the point to Louisville.
Your volleyball brain was working. That's the shot she was going for, off the hands.
Diving play there by Bartolo to prevent another ace for Louisville. Desjardins forcing a fabulous play from Anna DeBeer defensively. Bodies flying around on both sides on this point. Here's Charity Looper right into the chest of Bartolo for the kill.
Again, the defense on both sides. Bartolo almost had that last dig, and Elena Scott is flying across the court.
Set point for Louisville on a 5-0 run. The Cardinals bringing the fans to their feet for the first time this evening. Mansfield denied, but Cal able to recover. Here's Looper. Bartolo again. Top effort from her. Maldonado Diaz tooling the block for the kill. And that will end the opening set.
It's the little things, but like we said, the whole season is building up towards that Final Four event at the Center.
And the environment in this gym always strong as well. The fans really right on top of the court. And they've provided Louisville with a sensational home court advantage over the recent seasons. Point to Cal to start the second set.
Defense and blocking. What else would we expect to start set 2 in this match?
It was the hallmark of set 1, really, between these two sides. 7 combined blocks. Louisville with the 4-3 advantage there. There's Kara Cressy, had the hot hand early on. Cressy, the redshirt junior from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Had 6 blocks in that terrific win for Louisville against Wisconsin, which was Louisville's highest ranked win against an opponent since 2021. With Wisconsin ranked in the top 3 at the time. Big performance from Cressy in that one. Cressy forced to just hit that one over, but it was a scrambling Louisville defense that got the job done. And they will ultimately, thanks to that hustle, get a point.
Great hustle play on this side as well by the Cal Bears, but they ended up with a net violation.
Desjardins from the left side for Cal. Looper from Louisville's left side. And now Lee out of the back row. Scott to the floor. Cressy with the left. And then down the middle for Cal, Sawyer Thompson once again.
These liberos are fun to watch. Great pickup there out of the donut by Bartolo. Makes this play possible. Look how much court she covers.
Both liberos, both sides defensively have been outstanding to this point, like we've mentioned. Thompson tied for the team lead with 3 kills. Offensively for these two, it's become a battle of the middle blockers. You have Sawyer Thompson, the sophomore, 3 for 6 with 3 blocks. And then on the other side, the redshirt junior, Kara Cressy for Louisville, 4 for 7 with 4 blocks. And there's a block defensively for the Golden Bears from Michaela Hayden, denying Reese Robbins. Hayden led this club with 91 blocks last year. 40 plus for her this season. But Cal unable to use that block to gain forward momentum. It is a service error to give the point back to Louisville. And it affords Elena Scott the opportunity to serve here. An ace for her today, her 9th of the year. But there's an error to return the favor.
And that's the ratio that you're always trying to balance. We talked since the beginning about winning that serve and serve receive game. Really trying to serve receive with precision, push that ball up to the net so that you can run middle and balance those errors and aces.
Two teams trading points here with service errors.
Not nearly as fun as the block and dig game we've been witnessing.
From that perspective, too, it was a pretty clean opening set. Maybe we were due for a little run of...
ugly.
Yes.
No nicer way to put that one, right? With errors.
No more concise way to put it either. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Great
Point.
swing from Hayden off the block.
Hayden, the junior from Buford, Georgia, was an ice skater for 7 years growing up before eventually choosing to play volleyball. Would have to imagine that that plays a factor with her footwork. Desjardins to the floor. Here's Lee. De Beer into the net. Uncharacteristic from Anna De Beer.
I like the variation in offense, as we talked about a few times. We've seen a few too many errors already this set, but I like the variation from offense on both sides here. We're seeing a lot of slides. We're seeing a lot of back row attacks. This hasn't just been a outside hitter ball game.
And look at the joy on the faces and the expressions of this Cal Golden Bears team. Their first ace of the match there, and they've got a 3-point cushion over number 5 Louisville here in set 2. And the cushion virtue of a 3-0 run. Does Louisville respond? They attempt to through Charity Looper. Not once, but twice. There's Maggie Lee. And Desjardins with great effort, but unable to keep it alive. A point to Louisville.
Again, blocking can save you from a lot of things. It's a great cover by Bartolo, but just out of play.
There is a fair size advantage for Louisville in this one. Tallest player that we've seen on the court thus far for Cal is the 6'3" Maggie Lee. Louisville going at them with the 6'5" Reese Robbins, the 6'6" Kara Cressy, Hannah Sherman at 6'3" has seen action today.
What a diving set! The risk reward there is huge. Elena Scott is flying off the court, but she just went for it to see if she could get her team a hittable ball. And Anna De Beer waits, takes an approach, and finds a corner.
That is why Elena Scott twice has been an All-American in her career. And you see the run that she's been on with 20 or more digs in 3 of her last 4.
And for her, it's not just the digs. Digs are only statted on the first touch of a rally. What she does on the highlight that we just saw on the second ball of a rally helps keep so many balls alive, and not just alive, but hittable for the Louisville offense.
Couldn't do it there on a much more difficult play, with Nayelise Cabello also diving to the floor. And a great response here for Cal in the second set. Louisville just can't quite catch momentum the way they did in the opening set. And the Golden Bears maintaining their cushion, 15 points in. That was difficult to reach from Thompson. Natalie Lau, the setter, not quite on target with that pass. Lau, the junior from San Francisco, has inherited the starting setting position due to injury, unfortunately, from Cal's perspective. Anna-Leia Mader, the Super Swiss senior setter, went down with injury early in the year after being the ACC setter of the week early on in the season.
Another block. We talked about the difficulty of blocking these hitters coming off 1 foot, but Cressy does a great job of finishing and pressing while De Beer comes back in to close the hole.
Hannah Sherman there with the service error for Louisville.
Mansfield back into the game for the Bears.
And there's Lau behind the service line. Maldonado Diaz. And then Lau sets for Lee. Elena Scott with the dig. De Beer. Cressy. Lee. Will it stay in play? It will. Cabello. An overpass. And it's a mistake from Cal that gifts Louisville a point. Or no, it was a net violation.
Cressy got a little excited on this one. It was an overpass of this free ball, but Cressy's eyes got too big and she was in the net on the swing. Sometimes those are the hardest swings to take when that ball's coming from so high in the air.
And a clear expression of acknowledgement from Kara Cressy immediately. She knew it. It was a golden opportunity. She'll try and atone here. Oh, look at the pancake from Elena Scott. And a point to Louisville, another violation, this time from Cal.
Cal was called under the net here. But what Coach Malcolm is asking is, do you think this pancake was down? It looks in that replay like she got it, no challenge.
Outstanding defensive play, though, between these two sides so far. It has been highlight-level defensive volleyball. Maldonado Diaz, credit for the ace there for Louisville. And you see the hitting percentages for these two sides in the second set.
But that's credit to the blocking. Every block ends up also tallied as a hitting error.
Lee had to go with 2 hands. And it's out of play. There have been a few passing mistakes from Cal that have given Louisville opportunities.
Well, and I think we've talked a lot about the blocking, but that also challenges both the setters and the hitters to really try to beat the block and do some different, more creative things. So we've seen a couple tempo misses from Cal where they're trying to run something a little quicker to try to beat the block or just change the rhythm of the game, and that can lead to some miscue type errors as well.
Cal looked very on tempo there with Sawyer Thompson scoring for the Golden Bears. Again, she's pacing them along with Lee. 4 kills for each of those 2 players. Thompson with 3 blocks as well. And notably Maggie Lee with 6 digs on the stat sheet. Reese Robbins, that was in. The back corner.
I think the Louisville coaching staff is going to be very happy with Robbins' ability to swing off system tonight. She's a lot of times been an in-tempo option for the Cardinals, but that's her 2nd kill on a bad ball situation.
Off the tape, Bartolo couldn't get the job done. Again, putting her body on the line, but it's an ace in the end for Louisville.
We can't say enough about the hustle and effort of the liberos tonight on both sides of the net.
Gianna Bartolo and Elena Scott, respectively, for California and Louisville. Thompson right into the chest of block. There's Cressy. No mistake this time from her. Or was there? Yes, they call another net violation.
This is actually called a lift. It comes a little bit from, you can see it comes quick. It comes from behind her head. The definition of a lift is prolonged contact on the ball. So I think that's the angle when it comes from behind and you move it to the opposite side. But it was so fast is what Bus Boom Kelly's arguing, that how can you have prolonged contact when the play happens so rapidly?
Few boos smattered around this crowd at L&N Federal Credit Union Arena.
And then we're looking at a potential bloody nose on the Cal side of the net at the moment.
Natalie Lau there speaking with Jen Malcolm. And here's a look at that lift. What do you think on that, Steph?
In slow motion, everything's a prolonged contact, right? But I feel like when she contacted that ball, it was actually already past her head and out in front of her, which would typically not be a lift call.
It did look like her hand was behind the ball as opposed to, say, underneath it. This time, Kara Cressy will not be denied. No belated recognition of a call. She gets the kill. Louisville has come from behind to gain the lead in this set. It is a point to Cal, it looked like. Though the officials pointed Louisville's way, looks like there's going to be a little conversation to determine exactly where this point should be awarded.
The R1 and R2 did not call a touch, but one of the line judges did, but now they've discussed and called it out.
It is a point to Louisville, so we will take a timeout.
Picture this. You're binging your favorite show, and your sofa has it all. Heated seats, cup holders, wireless charging, zero need to get up. At Value City Furniture, you don't have to picture it. You can experience it.
Looking for a reason to try the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's? Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the price makes 5.
So much.
That's everything you get with the new $5 meal deal at McDonald's.
See, Geico has fast fare claims 24/7 right on the Geico app. See, Geico has fast fare claims 24/7 right on the Geico app.
Just tap right here to upload pictures.
To track your status, just click.
They're connecting with the mannequins.
You're doing great, everyone.
Ooh, you're a pro.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
Make the bunny circle. Over and under. Get one bunny. Pull. Did you just do it? You did. Let me see. I gotta look.
We've been talking up defensive play between these two sides. Blocks, a big factor, 10 combined blocks. Louisville with 6, Cal with 4.
And the ability to change a game with your block is what this Cardinals defense thrives on. And the Cal Bears are matching that energy here in set 2.
Individually, Kara Cressy leading the way for Louisville with 5 blocks. And then a trio of Cardinals behind her with 2 apiece. Maldonado, Diaz, DeBeer, and Reese Robbins. And then on the other side for Cal, Thompson and Mansfield, each with 3. And not only has it been terrific blocking there have been a lot of spectacular digs tonight as well.
But that goes together in so many ways. Your block can empower your defense to take a few more risks and be able to pick up some of the off-speed balls. And then your defense starts to fluster your hitters. If that ball keeps coming back, they'll start taking more powerful swings, let that ball drop just a little bit, which ends up right in the blocker's hands.
And block for Louisville on cue.
This one is just the intelligence and strength of Reese Robbins. She knew that the goal there was to tool the block, and she was able to finish her wrists back into the middle of the court.
Robbins up to 3 blocks, give her 28 for the year. And a timeout called by California. Louisville has swung momentum to their side after a bright early showing in the second set from Cal. This is a California program that last year in the Pac-12 went 5-15 in league play, 16-15 overall. So in the offseason, they turned to Jen Malcolm, who did spend 7 matches last year as interim head coach at UCLA, while the head coach was away working with the U.S. national team. She went 4-3 in those matches last year, but this is her first job as an overall head coach leading a program. They played just 1 ranked opponent thus far this year. It was that 3-1 loss you see on the graphic at Purdue. This is a Cal team, a new league, a new head coach, some new faces to the roster as well. They're still trying to build their identity.
And there's definitely something to be said for scheduling really tough in the preseason, but when you know you're coming into a conference like the ACC, where you're going to see ranked opponents through conference play, I really like what Coach Malcolm did with this team, new team under her leadership, and she didn't schedule quite as hard in the preseason as a team like Louisville did, gave her team a little bit of confidence to come into ACC play and be ready to battle.
Jen Malcolm knows something about deep runs in the NCAA tournament as well as a player with Iowa State. Led them to the Sweet 16 in 2007 and then the round of 8 the following year in 2008. And also was a member of Iowa State's program when they went to 5 NCAA tournament appearances during a 7-year stint for her as an assistant and then associate head coach just a couple of years back. Trying to lead this program, Cal, back to the big dance for the first time in over a decade. And if they can pull off an upset today against Louisville, certainly will have more chances for upsets later on in the ACC schedule. But they would give themselves a great shot to make it out of this conference with an at-large bid.
With this type of defense and blocking, I will not be surprised if they pick up an upset along the way.
Certainly have come here to L&N Federal Credit Union Arena and made a good account for themselves to this point. Taking on a top 5 foe. Just a few mistakes. If you eliminate those, they would be very much in this second set. Lee out of the back row. And that's too hot for Glock to handle. But look at De Beer going into the first row of seats to keep the ball alive. An overpass.
Up to the gate. And then Looper is able to confidently take a swing. And again, the Louisville defense doesn't just keep the ball alive. On that second contact, they really push to get a hittable ball for one of their pins.
Service error from Elena Scott ends a 6-0 Louisville scoring run and gives Cal a little lifeline in this second set. Sophia Johnson back into the match to serve for the Golden Bears. But a service error committed by Johnson to give the point back to Louisville. Just feels like, Steph, the few times that Cal had an opportunity to grab momentum, it's been service errors and other mistakes that have thwarted that momentum.
Exactly. When we were talking earlier about Cal being primed to get an upset in the ACC, I think these scores so far have not really shown what they've shown. They've had some huge highlight plays, blocking and defensive effort. Love the 3-middle offense that they're running with options off of the right side. They've just had costly and, to your point, timely errors down the stretch.
Yeah, the score is certainly unflattering considering how well Cal has played at times tonight. They're forced into another timeout here. Their second of this second set after Maldonado Diaz was able to score with a nifty cross-court shot. Louisville with a great response. Let's go to Riley Himmer.
Yeah, so I feel like the test of this second set was how Louisville was going to respond to that adversity when they had a few unanswered points from the Bears early. But I'm talking the factors that exclude kills that are so fun to watch. But Elena Scott was sometimes digging with one hand. There were a few errors and violations that the Louisville Cardinals were able to capitalize on once they were committed by California. I'm also on the sideline here, and I was able to see Associate Head Coach Dan Meskey calling out back row to help transition his team to that defensive mindset, and that was the focus of the 2 previous timeouts that we've seen so far this set.
Thanks, Riley. Louisville buoyed so far by the performance of Kara Cressy. 5 kills and 5 blocks for the player that leads Louisville in blocks this year, coming into tonight's match with 43 and 11 solo blocks. She has been really terrific.
And you see her here with a variation. You see a 31, a 1, a couple of slides. When she is moving around and becoming a dynamic middle hitter, taking up that whole center of the court, basically from pin to pin, even with 2 pin hitters sandwiching her in the 6-2, that makes this Louisville Cardinal offense so hard to stop.
Cressy last season all ACC second team, also all East region from the AVCA. Feel like she's poised perhaps for a step forward in her career. She's been a significant player for the Cardinals the last 2 seasons, but might be primed for stardom this year as we turn the page to ACC play. Louisville looking to turn the page to set 3. If they can get 4 on the board here, and more terrific hustle by the Cardinals keeps them alive for the point. Bartolo likewise with some hustle. That one looked like off the face of Elena Scott. Chance for Cal. Here's Looper. That one just off target from where Desjardins wanted it, but she's able to find the point off the Louisville block.
Great patience here on the approach. Dig off the shoulder, luckily not the face, but does lead to a free ball. Good patience and swing from the offense of the Bears.
Peyton Desjardins looking to make it 9 matches for her this season with double-figure kill totals. Got some work to do, though. That was just her first kill of the match a moment ago. Points to Louisville.
Maldonado Diaz has been fairly quiet tonight, but you get that in a 6-2 too. One of the downfalls of a 6-2 is the same as one of the positives of the 6-2, and that's the ability to spread the offense. And we see Louisville focusing a little bit more on their middles tonight, which is taking some of the pressure and some of the opportunities off of the pin hitters.
Another point to Louisville. Spreading the wealth perhaps means that you're not going to see the big kill totals from Louisville's attacking stars like we have in years past with Anna DeBeer and Claire Chaussee years ago. Charity Looper last year with a terrific year as well.
You always want the highlight reels. You always want the people racking up accolades and with the big numbers. But I think down the stretch, one thing that makes this Louisville team very dynamic, what makes the Pitt team very dynamic, what makes Nebraska very good, is their ability to spread the offense over 5 and 6 hitters on any given night.
Camden Schrand into the match for Louisville to serve here. Once again, Michaela Hayden denied by another great defensive play by Elena Scott. Here's Maggie Lee. Had to take something off that one. Maybe gives an opportunity for Louisville to go to Maldonado Diaz. Hayden again, this time out of play. An attack error from Michaela Hayden, the junior from Georgia. And Louisville on the cusp of a 2-set advantage. Trend, the sophomore from Northern Kentucky. The region, not the university. Oh, look at Elena Scott Does it lead to a De Beer kill? It does. Because they won on that occasion 3-0 in a sweep back 21 years ago. Natalie Lau back behind the service line to get set 3 underway. And California looking to respond and steal a set off of a top 10 opponent for the second time this year after they took one off of Purdue earlier in the campaign. But it's Maldonado Diaz with the point for Louisville out of the gate. Hannah Sherman back behind the service line. Service error from Sherman. Evenly split in the service errors. There's the superstar sophomore Maggie Lee. Cal will hope for a lot from her in this set, I would imagine, to try and get themselves back in it. Louisville's had a lot of Kara Cressy, much to their pleasure.
And I agree. I would look for Cal to go to Lee in the big moments this set, especially in the front row, but even in the back row.
Choppy start to the third set with another service error from Louisville.
I believe we called it ugly in the second set when we had a couple of errors in a row. I feel some deja vu.
That was the vocabulary word, right? These two teams looking for an alibi right now in that regard. Scott just has to set it over. But then that is what Elena Scott has made her trademark. And it leads to a Louisville kill.
And that is what sets Louisville apart. They are able to take a broken play and get it back in system.
So here's Anna De Beer, who we were speaking about just a moment ago.
And I don't want to speak for her, but with all of her accolades, I think she would be the most proud of being a team captain this season and really being a leader on the court of her team.
Leading a group of younger players in the supporting cast like Reese Robbins there, who had some significant playing time as a freshman, 82 sets a year ago, several notable strong performances, but has taken on a bigger role this year as a sophomore. Point to California. Credit to Kate Mansfield. Speaking of freshmen having strong performances, Mansfield, the freshman out of Plano, Texas, who has earned some significant playing time for herself right out of the gate after leading Plano West to regional area and district championships over the course of her high school career. De Beer just has to get it over. Great reactions, though, from Louisville. And the whistle goes in favor of California.
Kara Cressy was in the net on the block on Lau's tip. Good variation there from Lau. We haven't seen her attack across the front row yet.
Sophia Johnson into the match once again. This Charity Looper, well handled by Johnson. And that's pinpoint into the back corner. Desjardins with the kill.
Creative shot here from Desjardins, going line with this ball coming from behind her head. A little chop shot with her thumb up down the line.
Desjardins thus far, just her second kill to go along with 4 digs. Oh, rare that you will see Elena Scott go to the floor and not make the play. It is an ace for Johnson.
That serve from Johnson dropped, floated and dropped in front of Scott.
And once again, just like in the second set, in the early going, Cal playing well, giving themselves a chance. And they'll get another point here on an attack error from Charity Looper.
And look who we saw leading the huddle. Anna DeBeer telling her team to settle in, make the right decisions, and keep trucking.
Looper 3 for 21 so far tonight. Johnson with a good dig, but here's another whistle. And this time it'll result in a Louisville points. Teams trading violations in this set.
As Lau was running up to the net, she kind of ran out of space to stop herself. And if your foot goes all the way under that center line, that's an under the net violation. So I think she managed to stay out of the net, but she was under the net.
And there's Elena Scott perhaps taking out some frustration with an ace after not keeping that ball up just a moment ago. Scott with a pair of aces on the night to go along with those now 23 digs, leading all players. There's a block for Louisville. That was the early tone setter for the Cardinals, leading them to that opening set win. Charity Looper here with the block.
Again, you'll see Looper, the outside blocker, reach in and close that hole, which gives Sherman the ability to just go straight over and create a wall.
Looper just at 5'9", but with extreme athleticism, able to get to that ball. And after the good start to the third set for California, Louisville has now come back to take the lead after a 4-0 scoring run.
And that last call was a back row attack.
Here's Robbins. Desjardins off of Glock.
We talked earlier about Robbins being able to bring the ball back in when she thought she was going to get tooled. That time she reached outside to not get tooled and created a hole down the middle.
Third year in the program. Played 75 sets as a freshman a couple of years ago, but took a little step back last year with just 23 sets. We're making an impact tonight for sure in Cal's ACC debut. Chance here for the Golden Bears. Last touch there looked like from Sherman to get it over for Louisville. And there's a block. Reese Robbins with another.
Glock had tripped, and Robbins was able to save the day and save her setter's face by being able to press in and get that block.
10 blocks now for Louisville, and Robbins hot on the heels of Kara Cressy for the team lead. She's got 5 blocks behind Cressy's 6.
And we talked about Cal running the 3 middle and really being able to set up a great block on the right side. Louisville has a bit of that dynamic too. While they run a 6-2, Robbins was a middle coming into college, and so that blocking really translates to that right side.
Hayden with the kill for the Golden Bears. Had a season high 15 against San Francisco earlier this season. Maldonado Diaz. Lee, look at Scott again. But then Maldonado Diaz with the attack error, went for power there and couldn't keep it up.
And look for Cal to try to get a couple more kills out of Lee before she goes to the back row.
Gianna Bartolo, the other combatant in that duel of liberos that we have highlighted so far tonight. And she gets the ace, much to the frustration and perhaps bewilderment of Danny Busboom Kelly on the Louisville bench. But once again, California unable to really build any momentum.
And we talked about the timing of the airs. It's such a balance. She just had an ace on the play before, so you wanted to go for an ace again. But then there's also the school of thought of make Louisville work their way out of that serve receive once they're struggling, and don't give them the break and let them out.
Hannah Sherman with the block for Louisville.
Hannah does a great job of staying disciplined. You see her eye work there, saw the setter, saw the ball, was able to be still and pressed over on contact.
Sherman didn't need any help on that one, all alone in the middle, making the play. Been a lot of work for the Towel kids tonight. Camden Tran. Lee. There's the effectiveness from Maggie Lee that Cal would have hoped to have had more of over the course of the night. Just kill number 5 for her. She does lead the Bears in that category.
Lee has one more rotation in the front row. Look for Cal to try to get a point out of her here behind the serve of Lau.
It is perhaps a little bit of a slump by Maggie Lee's standards. 2 straight games for her with fewer than 10 kills. Looking like it might be 3 in a row, depending on how this finishes. She's denied here by Hannah Sherman.
I will say, though, for Lee, her stat sheet is not going to look like a great night, but she's taking great swings. But the block and the defense, you see Sherman pressing into that hole and still being able to finish with a normal block. That would have been a tool. That would have been a Lee kill, but the Louisville block is on tonight.
Let's look at the true freshman from Minnesota, Sam Unteed, who has seen action now in 9 sets in her first season in red and black. That one was on target in the back corner.
Mansfield with a quality swing there. That's one great shot against a solid block, is that high and deep. You have the longest line to keep that ball in when you go on the diagonal. Some more math for you today.
You're throwing it all at me today. On a Friday, too. I mean, come on. Service error gives the point back to Louisville. Just again, every time it feels like Cal has the opportunity to give themselves some space, create a gap on the scoreboard. It's been an untimely service error that has cost them. There's Lee out of the back row. Handled well by Louisville with Cabello and Cressy. Louisville here goes to De Beer. Collision between Maldonado Diaz and De Beer. Lau with a kick trying to keep it alive, but a point to Louisville.
What a heads-up play there by the freshman setter. One of her hitters, De Beer, was on the ground. There was a collision between her back row attacker and Maldonado Diaz, so she had one option: set the middle or be able to tip.
Nayalise Cabello has shown the ability to score as a setter this year for Louisville. Give her now 7 kills on the season. 1 kill tonight. Not to confuse anyone.
Well, and to that point, she doesn't usually play front row in the 6-2. Typically, we only see her in the back row, but this is a variation Louisville has been using where they keep Maldonado Diaz in the back row at least for the serve and let Caballo play 1 rotation of front row.
Here she sets to De Beer. And then Desjardins able to tool the block there for the kill.
And now we see the double sub with the 6-2 with Cabello coming out, Robbins going in, and Glock going back into set.
All even at 14 in set 3. This might be Cal's best showing of the night. Certainly will feel that they'll have a chance to at least steal a set off of Louisville here. They've played very well in moments. For a program trying to turn things around under a first-year head coach in a brand new league. There's Anna DeBeer down the line. Lee goes flying behind the bench, but can't keep it alive. And DeBeer with the kill to give Louisville a 1-point advantage as we head to a timeout.
All right, Tina, 6 is hard to beat.
Not for us.
Okay, not soccer, but
football.
Yes. We honeymooned here.
Mallorca.
Yes. Pass.
No, we don't pass, Tina. Come on.
They help give you more.
A tax professional.
And they have a 97% satisfaction rating.
Salami.
You could have done it in a British accent.
That's helpful, Randy.
For savings and service, get more with Geico.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island.
Things started off great, but once the new wore off,
they changed.
In the beginning, I got gifts like a phone.
And then next thing you know, it's like I'm invisible.
So I switched up and got me a new phone carrier.
Don't put up with wireless yada yada. Now with Metro Flex, new and existing customers are treated the same. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro.
Isn't it incredible that #1 Pitt, with 3 matches against top 25 opposition, has not dropped a set yet to lead the ACC and lead the country, as a matter of fact. We've talked about the depth in the league this season, Steph, but it starts right at the top with that Pitt team.
And Pitt is a fun team to watch. It's surprising, but it's also not. They returned so much from last season where they were in the Final Four.
That Louisville-Pitt rivalry over the last few years has become one of the best, most competitive in the nation. It's not a rivalry built necessarily on history, just the fact that these have been the 2 top teams in the ACC for a little while now. That'll change a little bit with the incoming likes of Stanford, SMU, but Louisville and Pitt figures to be a headline affair when they come together later in the season.
And those ACC rivalries heat up when then you meet each other again, most of the time for the 3rd time in the season in the NCAA tournament. So now add Stanford to that mix, that Louisville, Pitt, and Stanford each play each other twice during the season and have a large potential of meeting in that 2nd, 3rd round of the NCAA tournament, and that intensifies conference rivalries quickly.
And then the other notes on that graphic that we saw. How about Syracuse off to an undefeated start after the injuries and struggles they had a year ago? Talk about the depth of the ACC. If you think of Syracuse at the bottom of it, hey, can't get any better than 12-0 to start the year. And then Georgia Tech, one of those teams that is going to be a contender to win the league this year. Great effort from Lee, but unable to handle a terrific delivery from Elena Scott.
And who else to bring this team out of a timeout tonight and really break the tie that we've had for points and points now? Elena Scott has had a career night tonight to kick off the ACC.
You feel like Louisville just has Cal on their fingertip here. They can push down the accelerator whenever they want. And it feels like Elena Scott might be the player at the wheel pushing down on the accelerator right now for Louisville. They've opened up a 4-point cushion out of that timeout. And they're going to force a timeout from Jen Malcolm and Cal. Louisville with a big opportunity this Sunday when Stanford comes into town. And it'll be a battle of liberos. Here's Riley Himmer.
So Notre Dame and Stanford are currently playing right now up in South Bend, where Stanford leads 2-1 sets, and Notre Dame has taken them to a 4th set, which Stanford is currently leading. But looking into Sunday's matchup against Louisville, they say defense wins championships, and it's going to be defense versus defense, libero versus libero, and in this case, Elena versus Elena. Elena Scott was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and Elena Ogilvie was the 2-time Pac-12 Libero of the Year. So it'll be such an exciting matchup to look forward to on Sunday.
Thanks, Riley. Yeah, we talked a lot about the defensive play tonight, Steph. I think it'll just be even more of an important storyline on Sunday.
And give them a little more space at the Yum Center to chase down some balls, and I think we are going to have defensive highlights. I think we can count on that. I think the difference maker there is going to be how the block adds to the defense behind it. We talked about how those two puzzle pieces really work together. I think that's going to be the deciding factor on Sunday.
Not just a battle of Elena's, but also a battle of the Cardinals versus the Cardinal, which is always an announcer's dream. Great noise in here tonight at L&N Federal Credit Union Arena, but they'll be back down at the KFC Yum Center downtown at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon for that matchup with Stanford and another nationally televised game on ESPN. Tell you what, ESPN viewers will know this Louisville volleyball team by the end of the year, considering the number of times that the Cards have been on national TV. Certainly deserved, considering the prowess of this program in the ACC, and this team specifically.
And it's great for the sport. It's great for the ACC. It's fun to watch. The viewership is holding. It's showing that people like watching volleyball.
And not just the 684,000 on Sunday against Nebraska that tuned in for a Louisville match, but the previous one against Kentucky also had a couple 100,000 watchers on ESPN. Danny Busboom-Kelly off the bench grabbing that green card for the first time this evening.
And Louisville got the block on this play, but then was called in the net. The ball also looked to kind of wiggle off of the tape, whether that was off of the attacker or the blocker. We'll see. The ball can totally hit the tape, but the blocker cannot hit the tape, which tape being the top of the net.
The original decision was net fault by Louisville. They are challenging there was no net fault.
That announcement coming from Brian Himmelgarn.
And we talked about the doubles being a new rule in the NCAA this year. I'm also a huge fan of the refs on camera.
Absolutely.
And announcing to both the viewers at home and the stadium what's going on with the replays. I think it's part of what makes the spectator experience better, both in stadium and on TV, and I think that's an important part of what we were talking about before. When volleyball's fun and easy to watch, it's more fun and easier to watch.
Yeah, certainly with a sport on the rise with lots of attention.
The original decision is confirmed.
So the challenge unsuccessful from Danny Busboom-Kelly, which draws the ire of the crowd. But certainly with a sport on the rise, more attention, more eyeballs on volleyball, it is worthwhile to continue the education of volleyball fans. Maybe many people tuning into the sport for the first time. So to have the officials speaking directly to fans, whether it's in the arena or on television, it's just a great addition to the sport. Charity Looper, after Louisville was denied their challenge. Here's Robbins, sent back by Lee. Looper had to take something off that one, Lee to the floor, and then a set to no one in particular, and Desjardins had to hit it over. Another good battle for this point. De Beer out of the back row.
And we talked about the variation and the options in Louisville's offense. There are 3 hitters front row, but Hannah Sherman was not able to transition on that attack. So to keep 3 hitters available in the offense, Anna De Beer comes flying out of the pipe.
Louisville finishing this match in a very strong manner as they will begin to look ahead to Sunday after a few more points. Looper, that time not as precise as Anna De Beer was a moment ago. It's over the line and out of play. And Cal trying to hang around as long as they can. Gianna Bartolo back to serve. And that one off the hands of De Beer will give the point to California. Give Bartolo credit for the ace. And with a couple of points to the Bears, Danny Busboom Kelly going to call a timeout for, I think, the first time tonight. So Louisville, come Sunday afternoon, will face yet another top 10 opponent. If you look at the current rankings from the AVCA, Louisville has all of the top 7 teams on the schedule, aside from themselves. They're the only team in the top 7 that they're not going to play based on the current rankings. It is an absolute gauntlet that Louisville faced in the non-conference, and it's not going to let up come ACC play because of all that depth that we've been talking about tonight, Steph.
And there's definitely 2 schools of thought here. Play tough at the beginning and then see, kind of weather the storm through conference and be ready to ramp back up for NCAA play. We've seen that in the past couple years with the Big Ten. They're tried and true every night in the Big Ten as they go, and now we're really starting to see that in the ACC. The ACC schedule didn't used to look like this.
Certainly didn't, and it's a fact that has many in the conference or observers of the conference arguing that perhaps there should be an ACC tournament at season's end. You have so much depth, so much talent, so many quality teams. It's a large league now with the addition of the 3 new programs into it. What do you think about that? Maybe an ACC tournament at the end of the year.
And I think that goes full circle to the conversations we've had tonight. I think that's what volleyball TV viewership is set up for. Conference tournaments are just so much fun. Why did they expand football to 12 playoff teams? Same idea. Why is basketball season what it's like in the spring? Same idea. We need that for ACC volleyball. I'm ready.
Let's send you to the ACC commissioner's office and you can lead the pitch. With that enthusiasm, I think he might be convinced. Points of Louisville out of the timeout from Sofia Maldonado-Diaz. It certainly would bring that late season excitement, and also in such a big league with so much talent would give teams that are maybe on the outside looking in the ACC the hope that they too could maybe win the league despite some struggles over the course of the regular season.
100%, and I think that's why in general the ACC coaches haven't added it in the past years, because it didn't really benefit those teams at the top. They were gonna be in anyway, but now you have this deep middle of the pack and they have the ability to prove themselves, not even by winning the tournament, but by putting up some last minute good wins before going in front of the committee to get a bid, maybe an at-large bid, maybe a conference championship bid, but to the tournament.
Yeah, more opportunities to take on top opponents. If you add a conference tournament, more opportunities to bolster your resume before the selection committee makes their choices at season's end. Certainly is an intriguing talking point within the world of ACC volleyball. Louisville trying to end the conversation tonight if they can score 3 more points, but it is a little run for Cal. Back-to-back points for the Golden Bears after the attack error from Maldonado-Diaz a moment ago. And another one here. Fans sensing that Cal might be trying to get back in it, making some noise. Natalie Lau to serve. Here's DeBeer. Bartolo, the defensive play. DeBeer again. Out of play. Another attack error from Louisville, another point to California. And the Bears clawing their way back into this set. Forcing another timeout from Danny Busboom Kelly. Well, for California, it was not quite as arduous a non-conference schedule. They had that match with Purdue that we've mentioned, coming in tonight with a record of 8-4, but things will certainly get a little bit more difficult in the ACC, although they've got a relatively soft, to be critical, but a relatively easy opening there. Trip to Notre Dame on Sunday. You don't see any of those top-level teams on this upcoming schedule for the Golden Bears.
And this is that second train of thought. They didn't schedule quite as hard in the preseason. new coach, new system, figure things out. They got enough of a challenge knowing that they start the ACC with Louisville. They put Purdue in that preseason schedule, and now they have time to really, they could go into their 7th match in ACC play being 6-1, 5-1 at this point. It's that math again. 5 games here that are definitely winnable by this Cal Bear squad.
Yes, certainly will be in it based on what they've shown today against the top 5 Louisville team. You'd give them every chance to win some of these matches upcoming. By the way, Notre Dame did go down. It has gone final in South Bend, 3-1. Stanford a victor over the Fighting Irish.
And Notre Dame's another one of those teams in the ACs that is in that middle of the pack that we've referenced, not far behind the last few ranked teams of Florida State and Miami in the ACC. That middle of the pack is going to be brutal night in and night out.
So Jen Malcolm trying to steady the ship for this program in her first year at the helm. And while this certainly is a rude welcome to the league, taking on a number 5 team on the road, they'll have some opportunities in the coming weeks to get some victories on the board. Certainly have a chance still tonight if they can forge a big comeback out of the timeout. Maldonado Diaz with the kill to inch Louisville a little bit closer to a sweep. Molly Urban into the match for Louisville late on here to serve. The sophomore from Martinsville, Indiana. Didn't play last year, or rather, as a freshman didn't play last season. And this is just her 3rd set of this 2024 campaign. Riley's got a little more on the California Golden Bears.
So Gianna Bartolo is a graduate student. She's a transfer from Denver, and she is undoubtedly the top defensive player for these Golden Bears. Not only is she leading the team in digs tonight, but entering tonight, she's 2nd in the ACC. Tonight, we've seen her be such a positive leader from the pregame when she took the coin toss through each set, even when they've been down. In that last huddle, she said, defend the serve and let's have fun. And they're putting pressure on these last few points for the Cardinals.
Excellent, Riley. Look who you see here talking in the huddle. Bartolo, we talked about Anna DeBeer being a captain for the Louisville Cardinals. That's exactly the role that Bartolo is taking here down the stretch, being a leader for this Bears squad. That is the stuff that is just intangible and priceless for a coach and a program.
She's a player vastly experienced after 4 years at Denver, finished 7th all-time in that program's history in digs per set, averaging 3.73 over her 4 years there. Has upped that number to 4.45 digs per set, 4.5 per set this season with Cal. A terrific addition out of the transfer portal, and she's had a big impact tonight, leading Cal with 11 of their 43 digs. 2 players for the Bears with 9 digs behind her, Maggie Lee and Natalie Lau. We mentioned it's a battle of the libero. Certainly Elena Scott deserves the plaudits. Bartolo, likewise, for California, has been a big part of this difficult test that they have given Louisville. Certainly not a cakewalk tonight for the Cardinals, though they are a point away from a sweep.
And very fitting that a block tonight would be what helps them clean up an ugly stretch at the end of the set.
Cabello to DeBeer, and that'll do it. It's a 1-0 start for the 2024 Louisville Cardinals in ACC play. A sweep of California in the Bears' conference debut.